Hello, my name is Brittany Power, and I'm doing a persuasive speech on minors who commit offensive crimes and whether or not they should be charged as adults. Personally, I feel that minors who do commit offensive crimes, anyone age 13 or older, I feel should be tried as an adult. And also, depending on the severity of the crime, that should be considered as well. I do not believe in sentencing a juvenile death penalty. I don't believe in any of that. I feel like if they're charged with murder, life in prison is enough. Okay, according to the Justice Department, about 10% of all homicides committed are committed by juveniles under the age of 18. Survey shows that each year more than nearly 33,000 juveniles are arrested under age 18. Many people argue that minors lack the ability to reason. According to Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget, around age 12, children start to develop abstract reasoning, which means that they are able to reason and think logically. If this theory is true, then any child 12 or older who commits any serious offense would be possibly tried as an adult. Many people argue that the lack of maturity and reasoning should be considered. I disagree. If studies have been shown that at age 12, a child has the motor skills to reason and think logically, lack of maturity shouldn't be considered. My attention was brought to this topic from the West Memphis 3 case that happened in 1993, where 3 minors by the name of Damian Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse McKinley, they were all charged with murder for 3 8-year-old boys. Eccles was the ringleader. He was charged with death by lethal injection and 3 counts of murder. Jason, he was charged with 3 counts of murder, and his sentence was life without parole plus 40 years. And Jesse, his sentence was only 1 count, and he was just charged with life in prison. The only flaw I thought about the case was that, Eccles was charged with death by lethal injection. Yes, it's true enough that juveniles, minors, they do know, the consequences behind their actions, but I feel like the penalty is more severe when they're sitting in jail thinking about the decision that they made versus killing another soul, because I'm all against, killing someone regardless of the situation. I feel like the prosecution in the case was fair. I don't like that the Supreme Court overturned their sentences, and they were released in 2011 after serving only 18 years. Many people have argued that, they don't have the thinking process. They don't know what they're doing. Surveys have showed that I looked up a survey saying minors should be tried as an adult was ruled the majority rule. But a lot of people said that the reason being they shouldn't is because they're only kids and they don't know what they're doing. But yes, true enough, the thinking process may be altered, but being raised in the U.S., that at a young age we're all taught that our actions, whatever actions we do, consequences will follow that if you do anything wrong. So I don't support that, and I'm not for that. I feel like a minor who commits an offensive crime such as murder, rape, and then even severe assault and battery, I feel like they should be tried as an adult. And a lot of people say that, trying a juvenile or a minor as an adult can put them in high-risk situations, such as in prison with people they shouldn't be around. But I feel like those people commit the same type of crime. They all have the same type of nature, so why not surround them with those type of people? Pay for what you did and take and own up to your responsibilities. And I got in a case where, for an example, in a case where, a minor kills their parents, say just for instance the parents were abusive or may have been sexually assaulting the child, and the child retaliate. In a situation like that, I feel like the child should be tried as a juvenile because that child was provoked. Under certain circumstances, I do feel like a minor should be tried as an adult. I had my own personal experience. My cousin, about probably 20 years ago, my cousin, he was so-called paid to kill his mother. But my grandmother begged the judge not to try him as an adult. He served time up until the age of 18. He went to juvie and he got out at 18. Now he's roughly late 20s, early 30s. He has been in and out of jail. He hasn't really changed his life. He doesn't know how to cope because of what he did. Many people say that, by giving these juveniles a chance, charging them as juveniles, rehabilitating them instead of putting them in prison, it gives them a chance to change their life and reflect on what they have done. And I feel by my personal experience that so isn't true, because my cousin, he hasn't changed at all. He's still getting in trouble, in and out of jail, and I just don't feel like rehabilitation with a crime like that can really change a person. A person has to be willing to change themselves. Some people argue that, because minors could have been influenced by other people to do a crime that they really wouldn't do. In a case like that, I feel like the jury will have to make that decision based on the circumstances. In some cases, juveniles, minors are influenced. Peer pressure is very difficult if you don't know how to handle that type of pressure, coming up as a young child. But at the same time, you have to know, regardless of peer pressure or not, regardless of your decision that you make, you have to be held accountable for those. So, in conclusion, the world we live in as young children, we are taught if you do something wrong, there would be consequences to those actions. So therefore, saying a child didn't know the consequences of their actions wouldn't be reasonable. No one has the right to end someone's life or cause physical or mental distress against someone without being held accountable. Treating these minors as juveniles or encouraging them that it's okay to do what they did, here's a slap on the wrist.